p.m. Mr. Rozika, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Mrs. Shockley,
Here.
Mr. LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ms. Ludwig,
Yes.
and Dr. Dixon.
Yes, and we also have with us tonight Chief of Police Frederick Heiss and Human Resources Director Cheryl Wilcox. Thank you. Welcomes to members of the public. The council will now go into executive session and be back in public session approximately 6 p.m. Council members, may I have a motion and second that the council recess into executive session at 5:32 p.m.
I'll make a motion.
Per Rhode Island, one second, per Rhode Island General Law 42465A1, 2, for a work session pertaining to anticipated collective bargaining with IBPO and Mr. Vincent Regasta, Esquire. Our reference page in our packet is page 4 to 65. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call. Mr. LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ms. Ludwig,
Yes.
Mr. Shockley, Mrs.
Yes.
Dixon, Chief Heist. He's here. Mrs. Wilcox, are you here with us? Okay. Okay, the motion passes. We will now be in executive session.
webinar. And
Welcomes to the members of the council, and welcome all of the council
Ann Dixon,
here.
here,
Nick Gorham,
Here.
and we also have Chief Frederick Heiss with us.
Pertaining to anticipated collective bargaining with the IBPO and with Mr. Vincent Bragasta, Esquire. Do I have a motion to adjourn from the executive session?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll
I'll
second that.
second.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I don't know which order we did that in.
Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The motion to adjourn from the executive session passes. I'll announce to the public that no votes were taken. Do I have a motion to seal the minutes of the executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The motion to seal the minutes of the executive session passes. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Did I lose connection? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. We are now in Agenda C2, approval of town council meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 4th, 2021?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on any changes any members would like? Okay, hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The minutes for January 4th, 2021 are approved. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 11th, 2021?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on changes or corrections?
Yes.
Ms. Ludwig?
I had two requested changes. So on page 3 of the meeting minutes, which is page 72 of the packet, it's in that kind of chunky paragraph towards the bottom. I believe it's the 6th sentence in. It says Vice President Ludwig mentioned that the first and foremost question from anyone that contacted her was, what is the time commitment and when do the groups meet? That next sentence, I'd like to ask for a change in that. It says, she asked the chairpersons. Can we change that to I suggested? It was not a direct ask of the chairpersons. And then I had a second one. On page 8, the third paragraph in, you need to add a vice in front of President Ludwig.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The minutes for January 11th, 2021 are approved as corrected. We are now on Agenda C3, update on COVID information by the interim town manager, Mr. Ed Wazika. Mr. Wazika.
thank you, ma'am. First of all, I'd like to begin by thanking all of the people that are involved in our present process of putting together the vaccination clinic, the med pods to be actually issue or do the vaccinations. Chief Heiss has spent a substantial amount of time. Jill Dombrowska, our assistant EMA director, has spent, I don't even know how many hundreds of hours on working on the plan. Our Parks and Recreation Department, along with Raina Blumenthal, is working on this. Bob Robillard from Human Services is involved in this. Chief Frank Brown and all of the fire districts are all involved. The school department has gotten numerous volunteers for us to assist in this. The process that's going to begin on February 18th, where we actually start issuing the 240 shots a week that we will be allocated. I can't get over the amount of people and time that this process is taking. I'm going to give you a list of just the number of people to run the first one on the 18th. We have a pharmacist, a pod commander, which, by the way, I like that name, pod commander. Pretty cool. A medical director, IT support, 6 vaccinators, 6 administrators for the vaccinators, 2 parking lot attendants, 2 time stampers, 2 entrance people, 2 people for check-in, 4 observation people to watch the patients after they receive the shots, 1 covering the exit. We need a runner and we need a custodian. All total, there's like 31 people involved to do the coverage that we need to do to be able to issue this and do this program. The state's finally set up the online system for us. We have the date set. As I said, it's going to be Thursday, beginning on February 18th and every Thursday thereafter. We will be issuing a code red message to all of the residents prior to, giving them the date and time that they will be able to go online and sign up on the, they will go into the meds. Let me show you what this actually looks like. This will be the screen that they see when they link over. As you can see, it's a 8 screens that they're going to have to go through to actually do this this sign in. That will, like I said, that'll be beginning this week for the first week for the 18th. We have a meeting tomorrow amongst all the people involved to finalize the actual messaging that we're going to be putting out, as well as all of the final plans to prep for this. So we'll have even more. It'll all be posted on the website. It'll be posted in social media. It will also be a press release going out like we did last week on all of it. Currently, and the links are on our webpage already, you can sign up with CVS and Walgreens for receiving through there. It's moving forward. It's taken a ton of work, but I'm looking forward to that first vaccination clinic that we have on the 18th. Chief, is there anything I've forgotten that you'd like to cover? You're muted, sir. Your mic up?
Okay,
All right, apparently the chief's got some technical issues. If there's anything I did forget, I will send an email out to everybody tomorrow, just giving if there's anything else. But you will be receiving the press release and all of the other paperwork once we finalize that tomorrow. We have a meeting at 9 a.m. to work and complete all of that. But that's where we are right now. We're looking at 240 doses, 4 weeks of first shot, 4 weeks of second shot. So approximately 960 people over 75. The criteria is 75 and above and a town resident, and only those people will be allowed. Once the people go on and sign up, we will be going through the list and removing anyone who is on there that we don't feel as though is a resident or not over 75. And that's the criteria we have to meet with the state. So that's where we are on the process right now.
Mr.
there any
Wa-
questions?
I'm sorry, Mr. Wazika, thank you so much for organizing this. It sounds like it's quite a logistics feat to put this together. 31 people. What is the cost to Coventry to do this every week?
We haven't calculated that out yet at this point because we're getting some volunteers for the vaccinators. We've got nurses that have volunteered through the school department. Some of the fire districts will also be bringing in their own personnel. So we won't be paying them. The districts will be paying them. So the cost is going to be, a decent amount of money, but it's going to be shared by a number of entities throughout the town. So it won't just be the municipal side paying for this. Some of the fire districts will be covering some of it. But once we have exact numbers, I will be relaying that to the town, to the council.
So my next question is this, you mentioned there are 960 people over 75 in Coventry, is that correct?
No, ma'am, there are approximately 3,500 people over 70.
3,500, okay.
Over 75.
Okay, so 3,500 people over 75, 240 dosages per week. How long is it going to take to get through all these people?
There's more planning coming down through the state that I can't get into at this point. So all I can talk about is this first 8 weeks. And additionally, I'll be able to give it, but we've had meetings. I was on with the lieutenant governor today, along with all of the other town managers and mayors. And there's information and further development of the statewide plan that we can't get into currently. But right now, we will be looking at this point, what we know, those 960 doses, and that's it. That's going to be 8 weeks between the first and the second shot. If more come available, we'll be able to distribute them. But as it develops, this is a very fluid situation, as the chief and Ms. Dabrowska can attest to. This has been, the info is not filtering down the way it needs to filter down from the state. So we're working with the best that we've got. We're developing our plans based on the current knowledge or the current information, and we're moving forward with those to handle it the best we can under the circumstances.
No, I understand the situation, but it sounds as if we start February 18th and it's going to take 8 weeks for 960 people to get 2 dosage. That means that there are going to be quite a few people who won't be getting anything until maybe April or May.
Well, those people can't sign up now with CVS and Walgreens. They're doing the same thing. It's 75 and above. And they can simply go on our website. The links are there to send them over to the direct sign up on those 2 sites. I believe they're getting somewhere around 3,000 doses a week combined out of all of the pharmacies, but I haven't got that exact number. And I know it's ballparking in that 3,000 range. But that's another option right now for our residents to sign up and get a vaccination. Yes, at 240 a week, if that was the limit, we're looking at 4 years and 8 months to vaccinate the town. So it would be a lengthy process. Fortunately, we will be getting more vaccine as time goes on. But right now, what's earmarked is at 240 for the next 8 weeks, and that's it at this point.
Questions for members of the council, Ms. Ludwig?
Thank you, Mr. Wazika and Chief Heiss and everyone who's contributed to pulling this together. I have a few questions. I just want to make sure I understand here. I'm not totally understanding the CVS, Walgreens, or town angle here. So can you just lay out, if you are someone in Coventry, you're a resident of Coventry, you have an option of either signing up on our website, and we'll send out a code red every week and say, hey, sign up tomorrow morning.
Correct. The 240 doses available.
Or you can go to the CVS or Walgreens website.
Correct.
Okay. And are we charging anything for the Coventry dose?
Not that, no, no. There's no charge to the people coming in. They do take, the state is looking at insurance information as part of what they gather, but there is no charge if If you don't have insurance or you don't have anything, there'll be no charge for this to anybody.
You mentioned volunteers. Are you looking for volunteers?
We are looking for qualified volunteers. We have a pretty good list from the school department with nurses and people where Mr. Levis has provided a list of almost 20 people. I think about 7 or 8 of them are nursing staff. So we've got them. Again, this is going to be an 8-week process. We're going to be utilizing in-town employees as part of this as well during regular hours, because this will take place between 10:30 and 2:30 in the afternoon for the vaccinations going on those Thursdays. So we will be utilizing some employees from the town, and we will be in process still looking for volunteers for certain
Okay.
aspects of it. Correct.
So by qualified volunteer, what does that mean?
We want to make sure that we have not everybody.
Do they need to be, for example, a registered nurse, or is there some other?
For the
qualification?
vaccinators, they would be, yes. And again, Jill Dombrowska would be dealing with that. If you've got anybody that's interested, have them send me an email and I will pass it on. If you've got someone that would consider doing it, preferably nurses are good, because that's where there's a big money cost for the vaccinators. Chief, am I correct on that? I know you can't speak. Can you just shake your head?
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear
Yes.
you. Yes.
Technical difficulties here. No, you're correct. Vaccinators, that's where we'd spend the most money if we would have to pay for somebody to do it. And we'd be looking for volunteers in that category.
Okay, thank you. And Ed, the last item, you had mentioned that we are taking only Coventry residents.
Correct.
So how is that being checked?
First and foremost, we're using the voter registration list for starters. We also have, the land evidence records. We have records with people that are signed up through Human Services. So we're going to do our best. I'm not saying somebody might slip through. I can't guarantee we're going to have 100%, but we are going to do our best to ensure that it is only town residents and only people 75 and older.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wozniak, I have just one more question. I mean, it seems based on the news reports that in some states, people over 75 have already been given their vaccination. And here we're in Coventry, Rhode Island, and it's going to take months and months for us to even hit that population, let alone get down to the 65 and up population. What is happening in the state of Rhode Island that has put us in this situation?
We don't know. We're not getting that information on why the numbers are where they are, but that's our frustration, and that's a frustration of most municipal leaders. We're all in this boat together, and it's a killer. 240 doses is nothing, and we're that's 31 people that we're going to take up a full day, and all of the work that's involved in planning this to issue 240 doses 8 times, and it's going to be tough. But so I don't know why the problem with our state compared to some others. We're not getting that data. All we know is we're hoping for additional dosage, but we don't know at this time.
Thank you. Members of the council, any other questions? Mrs. Shockley?
Hi, thank you. And I will say, I had reached out to Mr. Robillard a couple of times, and I really appreciate the assistance that he gave members of the community. And then I just wanted to ask, so as far as the doses at CVS and Walgreens, they're not on the same time limitation as us, right? You sign up, they tell you what days are available. You could go on any time to try to get a date.
Yes.
As opposed to
You can go on
ours.
there, but they're under the same restrictions. They've only got X
Right.
number of doses.
Right.
So you go on, and yeah, I have not personally gone onto their website to try to sign up, only because I'd hear with testing ours, we can test it and kill the registration. So it's removed from the system. We don't have that ability with Walgreens, so I haven't gone, I haven't seen it. I don't know if the chief has, So we're limited on what we know about it. It's just started late last week, and they've got very limited doses as well, so.
And then I'm just wondering, say you're trying to help a parent or a grandparent, and you're not sure they've gotten their code red message. Could you just log in each morning to vaccinateri.org and attempt to get a spot for that 75 plus resident?
No,
You have to get the code red call?
what'll happen is you won't actually have the link won't be up, it won't be in, it won't be operational, and it stops when it's full.
Right, but if you just tried to log on, and it happened to be during a segment of time where it wasn't full yet, you'd be able to get onto the website?
Yes.
Thank you. And then where would people find that code red sign up? Is it on our website?
But on our website, everything's under that,
Perfect.
the
I thought I saw it.
COVID-19 vaccination. If you go to the front, go to just coventryri.org, right below the welcome is the link that'll bring you to that page. All of the data that's pertinent to all of this, all of the signups, everything's right there, which is also the same place that you're going to find the link to be able to go on and set up for the registration for the vaccinations. One of the things I would like to try and emphasize, I noticed we've got 34 people on now, and we're going to do it in our code red messaging as well as our social media and all the rest of it. We understand not everybody is going to be computer savvy. They're going to have difficulty. We're talking about an older group of residents. If you've got family, if you've got neighbors, and you know they need to sign up, please reach out to them, give them a hand. We're hoping that we're going to have a number that's going to be given out when we do the code red. If you absolutely positively can't find a way to get online to do it, so we can do it, but that number will go out and it'll change each time so we don't get inundated. We had over 400 calls come in on when the press put out that we were going to be doing it 2 weeks ago when we weren't. So it overloaded our phone system, overloaded our employees. So if you know people and you've got elderly neighbors, elderly friends, we need you or CVS or Walgreens.
It is disappointing in the number of doses up range and 60 and up range to be vaccinated. So much. We're now on agenda item number 6. Yes, we can. Okay. Residents have to give a hard, long look at what kinds of benefits and services they feel and deem very critical and important, and have to think about what that is going to cost, because we can't continue, as Mr. McGee said, with the vehicles that we have and continue to provide all of the work that is being done with these vehicles when he's got a reduction in fleets and he can't even find the parts to replace these vehicles, fix them just to get them on a road again. That's a very critical issue for the voters to consider. May become an issue of safety, and what are we willing to pay for safety as we go forward into the next budget year.
If I may, ma'am, also to keep in mind that this past year, our asphalt budget was cut in half. And we had working on half crew for a good part of the summer. So we couldn't field enough people to do any road projects. They were all put towards sanitation, whether it be yard waste or just picking up trash and recycling. You'll see through the budget that we've lost a lot of momentum for this year. And so any drainage issues we have, again, we are dealing with. But again, as you can see with that mini excavator, we're down, we had 2, we're down to just 1 that's down broken right now. We can't keep that momentum going and provide the services unless it's funded. The department needs to be funded. I'm not asking for more people. I'm just asking for us to be funded so that we can do the job that I know we can do and we will do, barring COVID.
And it seems to be the services that people want based on the emails that I'm getting and the telephone calls. But that's for the voters to decide. But I appreciate the monthly report that you prepared for us, complete with photos that you've taken, because a photo, as they say, is worth 1,000 words, and it's there. We're using black tape to fix things, and people can see the corrosion and pots just laying on the ground because we can't assemble them. That's an important message, an important visual. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions that people have? Mrs. Shockley.
Hi, I'm sorry. So you said in 2016 you purchased 4 trucks,
Correct.
and before that, the town was regularly buying new trucks.
They were buying one large truck and one smaller truck every year in the capital budget.
So why are all our trucks 20?
Well, they're more than, some of them are 20 and some of them are 14, some of them are 13. 2012, before that was last large purchase that the town made.
Okay, I'm just having trouble understanding why we don't have more trucks that are less than 10 years old because of how you said we used to buy them up until 2017.
But it was one at a time, ma'am. It wasn't a large amount.
But you bought 4 in
Before-
2016 and a large and a small every year for the years before that. I'm just having trouble with the math. I'm sorry.
Let me try to help you with that. I have the listing of our vehicles here, and the last time they had a large purchase was in 2012. There were 3 trucks purchased. There was nothing else purchased from 2012 until 2016. So you went 4 years with no.
Okay, so that's where you lost me. I thought you just said for the past 5 years we hadn't been buying them, but before that we had.
Correct.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
so really we bought 3 in 2012, 4 in 2016, and all the rest are older than that.
Correct. And we have retired those other vehicles that those were replacements for. So
Mhm.
hopefully, we just need to get newer. We don't have a lot of trucks that are
Under 10.
2012. They're 10 years old
Mhm.
now. So
Yeah.
another 5 years and they're going to be out of service.
Okay, thank you for this conversation. It made it clearer for me.
You're welcome.
Good,
That's all.
good clarifying questions, Mr. Shockley. Thank you. Other questions? Okay, Mr. McGee, I'm sure we'll be hearing from you again shortly when we're in budget season. So thank you very much for this presentation. It begins to give us information that we can use to start thinking about.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, folks.
Good night.
Thank you.
We're now in agenda item C5, an update on the status of the finance audit by the interim town manager, Mr. Wazika.
Thank you, ma'am. The audit it began several months ago and it's been moving along. The audit this year is a perfect storm of problems and delays because of the problems. We had a school department finance system that was hit with ransomware. All of their data lost. They had to spend months and months trying to rebuild it all. All of that wasn't found. We've lost our finance director. We were also in the process of updating the finance package. All of these things have put a delay on. I spoke with the auditors today to see exactly where we are. And we're waiting for some data from Milliman on the OPED cost for the school department side. And unfortunately, that data doesn't look like it's going to be in until the beginning of March. So we are more than likely going to have to request another extension from the Auditor General. He has already been contacted by our auditors, advising him that we're waiting on this data. And that's where we are. I mean, everything else is pretty much done. Lisa has to dump off an asset, the total assets to them, which she will get to within the next couple of days. And then we're simply waiting for the Milliman data. And until they get that, they're not going to be able to finalize the audit. But everything else is done. It's all been reviewed. They're at that point.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Thank you, President Dixon. Mr. Wazika, what was the first required deadline for the financial statements to be submitted to the state?
It was the end of the year. It's had to be in before the end of December.
Okay, and we had a request one waiver, and
Two waivers,
what is that?
January and February. One for January, one for February.
Okay, and did Milliman not know our deadline? I just wanted to know why we haven't received the data.
the bottom line on that was Milliman couldn't get the data from the school. They were having difficulty getting it out, from what I understand. And they were
Understood.
requesting it. And again, because of the perfect storm of problems, they had issues trying to get it. So that's what's delayed it all. And now that they've finally been able to get it out, Milliman has it and they're doing their analysis. But it is going to take some time to get that.
So is it your expectation that we'll have issued statements before the budget talks begin,
Yes,
or no? Yes,
Yeah.
okay,
we will.
all
We
right,
will.
thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Ms. Ludwig?
So just to,
From an outside auditing firm that comes in, we have a contract with right after the end of the fiscal year. They stop.
Yeah, Mr. Wazika, would you move for the financial audit?
This, if you wouldn't mind.
The audit is to make sure that the town is, functioning with proper internal controls and, all the, not just the general fund, but the special revenue funds are done in accordance with government accounting standards. They do provide feedback and typically they'll have feedback on, whether it be internal controls.
I thought you,
No, that's all I had to say. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay, so they're really looking for how we manage our accounts. They're not looking to say there's misspending here, there's something going wrong in the back.
No, the purpose of the audit, and you'll kind of see on the first page of the financials, it really to ensure the town can't prove that there's no fraud, or they make a statement that there's no deposits in transits and stuff like that to make sure things are done timely. So that is being provided to you is, in balance, and it's not just numbers on a page.
It's saying, yes, you did buy the sand.
Yes, and that we paid for that GILPED data and the.
So and they do, I haven't seen the pension reports, but they will do an actuary report on, I did read a little bit of your report out on some of their pensions. So there's not enough actuaries out there. When I worked for Portsmouth, we gave them the number.
I appreciate that.
Other questions? Well, thank you. I was very happy to have you with us so that he didn't have to answer all these questions. He usually does a wonderful job.
I knew she would do a much better job of explaining it than I could.
No, you always done
I'm a little rough around the edges sometimes, so.
No, you've always done a wonderful job, Mr. Wazika, but now you can take a little bit of R&R once in a while, so that's good. Thank you, Ms. Mills, for answering all these questions. You've only been 2 weeks on the job, and you seem like you've been here for a long time, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're all set with the financial audit? Okay,
ask for funds directly from the taxpayer. I'm not saying that that number can't come down. What I'm suggesting is we put some sort of limit on how large it can come down in one given year. So rather than just letting it be any number, could we cap it at, say, 2% or something not as drastic as almost $1 million change year on year?
And it's for the school specifically that she's speaking.
Can I say something?
That,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, no, go ahead, Lisa, please. please.
Nick, I think they talked about it at that last meeting when we met with the finance director for the school, Sarah.
yeah,
And Steve Coleman was in that meeting. The state is very well aware of there's problems with the calculation, because what happened with in the case of Coventry, you got a large decrease because you had more COVID funding. So it's like they took it. So
We were losing it before the COVID funding.
well,
It
I
was
think it
already
had a lot, that may be the case, but I think from what Sarah was saying, I'm just reiterating what she said in that last meeting, that some of that COVID funding had to do with why they had decrease in state aid for the school. But she said it's like every other year, it's up and down, and it's not very predictable. And I believe Steve Coleman, I don't know, Nick, if this is right, but I thought Steve Coleman said that the state was working on something. Recall that?
Yes, I do. You're talking about the conference we had, I think, with
Right.
the Auditor General's office.
Yes, yes.
Pertaining to the school committee's request for approximately $970,000 of reserve funds.
Yes, that's
Yes,
me.
okay, I do remember that, and I think Member Ludwig's question is an excellent question. It sort of draws together one of the most enigmatic issues of law and policy in state government, because school funding is, and I don't mean this in a pejorative way, I'm drawing to some degree on my experience as a legislator. School funding is as much political as it is legal. And again, I don't mean that in a pejorative way, but it gets amended every single year. And it really depends on what the collective wisdom of the General Assembly is in that particular year. And then, of course, you take that law that's passed each year, the budget, the state budget, and it's handed over to the Department of Education and so forth. And the funding is almost impossible to predict unless it's really, really clear. So your suggestion is a really good one, which is you've got to set some parameters. This is what I think you could try to get the legislative delegation for Coventry on board with. We need some parameters so that these swings of, in some cases, $900,000 don't happen every year, because it just takes all of the predictability out of our planning and policy. We're just, trying to make up ground every year that we've lost in what is essentially the annual budget bill, or the annual pronouncement by the Department of Education of how they interpret that bill. That's something that the legislature has to do. They are the only ones who can provide the sufficient clarity to the school funding formula that will relieve us of this annual event where we're just caught scrambling. And it's not a criticism of the General Assembly. It's a complicated place, but it's something that I think is doable if we can get our legislative delegation behind it. The budget is an annual seminal event at the State House that attracts more attention than anything else they do all year. And that's where a lot of this takes place. We just need to have some type of law that gives more predictability. It's an excellent request. I don't know if you can get it done, but we are the 7th largest municipality in Rhode Island, and we have a lot of legislators, and they could really help us on this.
Mr. Gorham, would it be reasonable to think of it in these simple terms, that any reduction could not be more than, say, 20% of what you got the previous year? Now, I mean, the formula is very complex. It looks at, Mr. Wazik is shaking his head. That wouldn't work.
Ma'am, the problem with this is any amount of reduction in that from the prior year, that's burnt into the budget already. So if they take 2% out of 23 million, that's $460,000 that the town has to make up, because it's already earmarked in the budget. What we need is MOE. The state needs to live under the same conditions that we live under, which if you give the money one year, moving forward, you've got to at least match that amount. Because again, like you said, 970,000 came out of that thing from last year that we have to try to make up. It's the only fair way is for them to live under the same conditions that they force us to live under. And is it going to happen? I agree with Mr. Gorham. I don't see, it's going to be a difficult deal to get, but any kind of reduction is going to hurt us.
But how could this, Ms. Ludwig has an idea here, how could this be framed in such a way that we can be a little bit more specific, not so gray, but a little more specific, so that we can at least get this item on the agenda and maybe have people take a look at it?
I think it's an excellent topic for discussion at our legislative meeting. I mean, look what it's doing to us this year. We finally achieved really strong bond status because we've put away reserves through all the things that we've had to do especially with the leadership of our town manager, we have managed to put away a significant amount of money to make our bond rating better, which I think is it's now 1AA. Am I correct, Ed?
Yes. Yes.
So, and yet the solution to this year's education problem is going to be to defund our reserve, while at the same time we're trying to have a conversation with the school committee about borrowing $60 million to rebuild
85 million.
85 million. Okay. But if that isn't the epitome of something, that's a paradox, really. It's something we should discuss. The idea that I think member Ludwig has brought up is a really good one. It's really not the town council's place to put together the whole written law on this. The legislators have many, many resources available to them up at the State House to draft legislation and put it in. And what we want is to see some legislation. And I think the when I was in the House, this was always the number one issue because it directly correlated to property taxes. Your property tax bill was in large part driven by the amount of money that the General Assembly, through the Department of Education, allocated to whatever town you were representing. At one time, I represented 3 different towns. And it's something they can do. They have the tools to do that. We need to alert them to that and request that they help. When we meet with them next, I think it's next, is it next week or the week?
The 17th, yes. So we can put on the agenda a request for legislation to do what? How would we frame it so that people come away and they understand exactly what we're trying to do?
To stabilize school funding year to year.
Stabilize school funding year to year.
Yes.
So that would be one of our agenda items, a request for legislation to stabilize school funding year to year.
Yes. And,
How do-
It should be on there.
Doesn't feel like the appropriate word because stable on
well,
how much less you can get, we've talked about, and get their feedback.
Also had from a previous meeting where that Mr. LeBlanc wants to offer.
Wazika, that this is changeable in our own ordinance. And so to burden the state with something and have them, not even burden, but to give them the power to implement that over us that we can put in our own ordinance rather easily, frankly, doesn't feel like the right thing to do. And frankly, I think we have multiple things in that ordinance that we need to address very quickly. My interpretation of how we would be handling the upcoming working session would be kind of the kickoff to a review of multiple items in that ordinance that we would do this year. So my expectation is that there will be suggested changes to the sewer ordinance that we will bring to this council this year. So I would like to read the suggested bill that's being put forward. I'd be happy to do that. But I do want to say we have the ability to put that in our own ordinance, and I'd like to consider doing that rather than taking it out of our hands if possible. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Shockley, your view?
So something that Member Ludwig just said, Member LeBlanc, just something, it got me thinking. If we're changing multiple things in our ordinance, if that's the way we end up going, and I don't know. Would we want the state to be putting forth legislation on every change we make to it? So I plan on doing the same and looking at this legislation. And, I wonder if most towns have done it in this way, or, something like this in the same way through state as opposed to local changes, but I think we all agree that we want to look locally, either instead of or as well. So that's the decision really to make, I think, is do we want it changed in more than one place? And I think regardless of what happens with the legislation in the state, it sounds as if we're going to look at making the change locally.
And the only follow-up I have, President Dixon,
Yes.
is many citizens went to the, just say, a former town council and asked for the interest rate to be reduced from 6 to 3. And it did not happen at the local level. So we needed the state support. And I also think that the assessments right now are just so high. And I personally want to show the residents that legislation should be changed to protect them. But however we want, as a council, want it to handle it, I will agree with, obviously.
Help me understand 2021-S114.
That is the bill that Senator Raptakis and Rogers have introduced, and all it does is it adds one sentence to the current sewer or sewer law at the state level that is related to Coventry, and it specifically just has one sentence that says that the town is not allowed to include paving costs in the sewer assessments. That is the only change. It's actually the sentence that I previously read to you guys.
Yeah, so that is just changing it that Coventry cannot do that or any town cannot do that.
So it's an act relating to the Coventry Sewer Authority,
Okay,
and it's just one sentence. And it says the town of Coventry shall not assess upon the owners of the land the costs associated with repaving the roadway upon completion of any sewage works within town. That is the only change.
okay. It seems like, from what I'm hearing, that we can accomplish the same goal by changing an ordinance. Is that correct, Mr. Gorham?
Yes, and I dare say you could probably do it faster if there is support, because the General Assembly, I mean, with minor exceptions, a lot of things get put off until the end. I won't get into pondering why that is. That's not anywhere we're going to go, but it certainly could be done in this town council chamber relatively quickly. You have to put in the amendment for a first reading.
Mhm.
Then you have the second reading, at which time you can you have to have a public hearing and you can vote. It's done by early
So
March.
Attorney Gorham, I will submit it to you.
Okay, I'm looking at 114 right now online. I'm on the General Assembly website.
No, the ordinance changed. I will submit it to you, so you have it.
Okay, so
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Don't need you to spend another time.
So it sounds like there's consensus that we want to proceed along the route of changing our local ordinance to put in that paving cost should not be included with the sewer assessment. It seems to be the direction in which we're going. Ms. Ludwig also suggests, and I agree with her, that there are probably many other things in the ordinance that need to be changed, but we need to do that in a very deliberate way once we start having our sewer workshops and we start looking into the whole situation in much more detail. So that will come along, but we seem to have consensus on paving. So we can do something on a local level. So the question remains, do we want to tell people in the assembly who have submitted this bill to hold off on it because we're going to take care of it ourselves, that we don't need it at the, put in at the state level? Is that what we want to do? Or do we let them just go along and do what they want to do and we do our thing? We seem to be two paths going here now.
The end result is the same, but sorry.
The only difference is I would like to see how much political capital people have to spend, because there are some other ordinances that right now we're looking to push forward. And if we can get their support, I know legislatively, there's only so much you can ask for with give and take. So, I think that's something to discuss at the meeting as well with our legislation.
When you say discuss, there's something else to discuss. What do you mean by that?
Well, just the importance of the different things we're bringing up to our council.
How would that be framed as an agenda item? Because we just can't open discussion on any topic. So how would you like that framed as an agenda item?
I don't think it's changing any topics. I think we're putting forth what, right now we're coming up with what's important to our council, to our town council.
Okay.
And I think it's important to make sure there's an understanding of the hierarchy of need and the hierarchy of importance.
Okay.
What we're talking about.
So President
Chair, if
Dixon,
I may-
maybe we can add it on to the agenda to discuss, because I'd like to know why, for something that we can easily do on our side, and it sounds as though there is support for, I'd like to know why they're introducing this, you know, on their side. So maybe there's something we haven't talked about. Again, I haven't seen it. I'd like to know why they do that, and my initial reaction is to ask them to hold.
So I'm going to put on the agenda, the intention of the Coventry Town Council to change the ordinance, appropriate ordinance, so that we can remove paving costs from the sewer assessment calculation. And then we can get into a discussion of what the Senate bill is intending to do and whether it really is needed. I think that would be a good approach.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question to Mr. Gorham?
Yes.
Sure.
Nick, in the past, I've always, if someone in the House or the Senate is going to move something forward in reference to our town, haven't they always approached the council before doing this?
It's a matter of practice in the General Assembly that before a bill such as I think it's 114 that we've been talking about, before it can move ahead, there has to be a council resolution supporting it. If that answers your question.
Yes, I just find it odd that I'm not aware of it being, of us being notified of this.
I just looked at the bill. It's a proposal to amend the charter of our sewer system, which has only been amended, I think 3 times since its original enactment. That would be 1997. I think it was 2000. I don't want to be wrong. I think it's 2014 and 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the only times it's been amended. We usually do it as a kind of a omnibus amendment. I'm not saying that, except with one exception. Senator Raptakis did put through the interest bill just a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken, which limited the interest that could be collected by the town. But I must say, the council had a proposal to do the exact same thing, which I believe it was going to pass. I can see a really blank shaking.
Did pass.
Up right there.
It was passed after the legislation was passed.
Right. That's right. You are correct about that. I think it was prepared before the legislation passed. But in any event, look, they're both good ideas. There's no question about it. If there's support for the council can do an amendment to the sewer ordinance. And if the senators feel that it's still their duty to put it into our charter, I guess they can go ahead and do that. There will be a moment of reckoning, though, where the council has to decide, do we really want to amend our charter every time that we want to do something like this, or is it sufficient to amend the ordinance? That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Any more discussion on this? I think we have a good plan. Now, our town clerk, we have 3 items for our agenda. Could you read them back to us?
Let's see. I gotta go back into my notes. Yeah. All right, there was stabilizing school funding year to year. Was that the final decision we had on that? I'm not sure.
That's not the final wording, but it has to do with school funding. Yeah, so that's one. I'll massage that based on the words that I heard this evening. The second one is,
Let's see. School funding.
4452.
4452 maximum levy.
Oh, right, yes. Nick was gonna write something on the maximum levy.
We've done
All
that.
right.
Already written it, but I,
Written it. The third one has to do with the resolution that Mr. LeBlanc is submitting for Kent County Water Authority. And then we also are going to have as a discussion item our intention to change one of our ordinance to exclude paving from a sewer assessment costs. So those will be the four. Anything else? This is a very solid list. Are we okay with this list?
I don't think we want to add anything.
experience watching this every year. It's better to have a list like this, very short, concise, and manageable.
Because this has to be posted on the 12th, which is the end of this week. So, Mr. LeBlanc, question.
Have any of the reps or senators given you any topics, President Dixon, that they wanted to discuss that
No.
we should be aware of?
No.
Okay.
I have not even ever heard of them presenting anything ahead of time. That doesn't mean they haven't. It's just that I haven't been privy
I
to.
do want to just call out. I know Senator Rep Takis did send you and me a link of Senate Bill 114, and I think you wanted to reference it for the meeting, but I just want to call that out.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I forgot that. In the heat of the discussion. Okay, it's okay. We're moving along at a good pace here. Okay, now we're on to the fun part, and this is, we're on addendum E1, appointment of members to boards and commissions. I'd just like to mention that the council interviewed 25 people who applied for an opening on a board or a commission. And we interviewed people on Saturday, February 6th, 2021. We started at 8:30 in the morning and we completed our work at 4 p.m. And it was just a very thrilling, exhilarating session that we had. At least I feel that way. We were greatly impressed by the enthusiasm of our town residents who want to serve the community. Many had never been on any board or commission ever. They've lived in town for short periods of time and long periods of time, and they really just felt that they wanted to come forward and help our community be better. So I think it's some kind of a virus that we want to make contagious so that people have enthusiasm for joining us. There will be appointments tonight, and there will be more appointments at the next council meeting. And there'll also be another round of openings in May, June 2021, and we'll go through another round of interviews. So, Madam Clerk, the first appointment is for the Tax Assessment Board of Review. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution for Mr. Joseph Spada.
Get into that page, 1 second.
It's on page 82 of our packet.
Okay, so resolution of the Town of Coventry, State of Rhode Island, appointing one member to the Board of Assessment Review in accordance with Article 5, Section 10.40 of the Coventry Home Rule Charter. Whereas the Coventry Home Rule Charter requires that there be a Board of Assessment Review consisting of 5 members for a term of 6 years. Be it resolved that the Town Council hereby reappoints or appoints Joseph Spada for a term of office expiring November 1st, 2026.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve?
I'll do a motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, I'm sorry.
Sorry, on the resolution, at least on the packet, it says representing district and then it just says XXX. I don't know if we just need to clarify what district he lives in.
Madam Clerk, would you insert the district that he belongs to?
I will.
Thank you.
Perfect. That's all.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The resolution to appoint Mr. Spada to the Tax Assessment Board of Review is approved. Congratulations, Mr. Spada. The next appointments of the Coventry Historic Preservation Commission. Madam Clerk, read the resolution for Erin Brewster, term expiring August 1st, 2021. Maureen Buffy, full term, and Colonel Ann Asumpico, full term. We encourage Ms. Brewster to reapply when her term is over because it's a very short term. As a note, we are not appointing any auxiliary members of the Coventry Historic Preservation Commission this evening. We did not have any applicants. So Madam Clerk, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Coventry, State of Rhode Island, appointing 2 full and 1 auxiliary member to the Coventry Historic Preservation Commission in accordance with ordinance number 4-13-288. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Coventry hereby appoints, we're going to do
Maureen Buffy.
Maureen Buffy as a full member of the Coventry Historic Preservation Commission to an unexpired term of office expiring August 1st, 2023. And then we appoint Erin Brewster as a full member of the Coventry Historic Preservation Commission to an unexpired term of office expiring August 1st, 2021. And then we're going to appoint Ann Asumpico as a auxiliary member of the Coventry Historic Preservation Commission to an unexpired term of August 1st, 2023.
I have a question. We were told that there were 3 openings. What does an auxiliary member mean? This is the first time I saw it on this resolution. Is that like an alternate or is it a full member?
Alternate,
It's an alternate?
yes.
Okay, well, we will appoint her as an alternate then.
What does that mean? Will she be attending all the meetings but can't vote?
I think we thought there were 3 full openings.
I mean, I can't access I can't get on my laptop to look it up. I can get back to you on that.
Okay, then I think what we need to do is postpone this because there were 3 openings. The group does not have a quorum. It needs three members to have a quorum. So we'll have to come back on this because there may be a problem with the use of auxiliary on the resolution. Okay, so I'm going to ask that for a motion to postpone this appointment to next week until we get full clarity on this.
I'll make a motion to postpone.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All right, roll call vote.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. Okay, the motion has been approved to postpone the appointment until the next meeting, pending clarification on the number of full-time openings. Okay, next is the Coventry Board of Canvassers. Madam Clerk, read the resolution for the appointment of Julie Stefanik.
Resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Coventry, State of Rhode Island, appointing 1 member to the Coventry Board of Canvassers and Registration. Whereas the Town Council appoints members to the Coventry Board of Canvassers and Registration for a term of 6 years. whereas there are now exists a vacancy due to the expiration of one term of office. Now therefore be it resolved that the town council of the town of Coventry hereby appoints Julie Stefanik to fill one full expired term of office ending March 1st, 2027.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, Madam Clerk?
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The motion to approve the appointment of Ms. Stefanik passes. Congratulations, Ms. Stefanik. The Coventry Economic Development Commission. Madam Clerk, read the resolution for Mr. Pandato, Dr. DeKubelis, Ms. Erin Bosworth, Mr. Pascua.
And I just lost my spot.
President Dixon,
Yes,
are we going to separate this one?
separate, what does that mean?
To recuse myself from one of the votes?
You can do that, yes.
Do I need to do that now or after the resolution's read?
After the resolution is read and when we ask for the vote, you can recuse yourself at that point in time. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Resolution of the Town of Coventry, State of Rhode Island, appointing members to the Coventry Economic Development Commission in accordance with Resolution Number 12-11-4071. Whereas Resolution 12-11-4071 established a Coventry Economic Development Commission consisting of 7 members. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Coventry approves the town manager's appointments of the following as members of the Coventry Economic Development Commission. We got Craig Pendardo, Dr. Douglas DeCubelis, Erin Bosworth, and John Pascal.
May I have a motion to approve the appointments?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote?
So yeah, so discussion, please. So Ed, should I leave? I don't know how, are you voting on all of them at the same time or individual?
We can vote on them one at a time, but the resolution is written so that they're all appointed at the same time through the resolution.
Madam Chair, if I may bring up a point,
Yes,
this talks about the town manager appointments on this commission.
Yeah.
okay. So what will we do? Make your recommendations to you, Mr. Manager?
Nick?
I think it's an ordinance that allows the town manager to make those appointments, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
It, I mean, procedurally, it would be better if you could do the ordinance amendment in advance. What you could do for, if you want to amend the ordinance, but what you could do for tonight is just simply change one little section of the resolution to say that you recommend that the town manager appoint. I think that recommendation would probably be followed. I can't speak for the town manager, but
I'll make the motion that we amend the resolution so that it states now therefore be it resolved that the town council of the town of Coventry recommends to the town manager the following appointments to the Coventry Economic Development Commission.
okay.
Can I ask one other question? I believe we'd chosen to have a council member as one of the 7 representatives of the Economic Development Commission. Is that person simply appointed or are they one of the 7 that the town manager should be appointing?
I think it is a person who is added to the group. It just says in the ordinance, 9 people. So we did ask for a town council member to be a member of that particular group. So it's not clear to me, but I thought we would appoint Ms. Ludwig as we went along. But I think, first of all, we have a motion on the floor to amend the resolution. So we have to vote on that amendment first, and then we can proceed along with some of these other procedural issues. Okay, so we have a question?
Madam President, I
Yes.
think it's actually the charter that provides in section 13.4 that I'll just read it. It says town council is hereby authorized to establish an economic development commission to promote and encourage the location and development of new business and so forth. Town council shall prescribe the duties of said commission. The town manager shall appoint the members to serve at the manager's pleasure.
Okay, so we've got this amendment on the floor now that changes the resolution
Yeah.
that,
I think member LeBlanc's amendment is actually in order if,
it is.
Yeah.
So we need to vote on that. Okay, so there's an amendment to change the resolution that it says, now therefore be it resolved that the town council of the town of Coventry shall recommend appointments to the Economic Development Corporation to the town manager. Is that acceptable? As
I
a
think it's commission, not corporation, commission.
commission? Excellent. Okay, do we have a second?
So can we ask one more question, please? Are we going to do all of these together? Because again, I wanted to know whether I need to recuse myself from the entire thing, if we're going to do all 4, or just from one, if we're going to separate one.
Madam President, may I make a suggestion? Generally speaking, what we have done in the past is if a motion is divisible, that is, you can discriminate between each section of it or each appointee, it's typically done as a courtesy to divide it so that the member can vote on the 2 she does want to vote for and avoid the vote on the 1 she does not. We just need to have that specified, what the 2 are that member Ludwig can vote on, and then you vote on that, and then you vote on the other last person to be appointed. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. First of all, we have to vote on the amendment. So we've got an amendment on the floor. We've got a second. We now have to have a roll call vote to approve the amendment.
Okay, Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. Okay, the amendment is approved. Now we need to vote on the resolution as amended. So, Madam Clerk, would you please read the resolution as amended?
I have the first version that Jamie had mentioned. You mentioned a second one, and I didn't get the whole entire wording that you had given. I have now therefore it be resolved that the town council of the town of Coventry recommends to the town manager appointments of the following as the member of the Coventry Economic Development Commission.
That's fine.
Okay,
It's just a reversal of one word. That's fine. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. We have a second for the amended motion. All right, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
We just did that. I
Did that
thought.
one.
I'm sorry.
We did that for the amendment, but not for the amended motion. You have to do it for the amended motion.
Okay.
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. Okay, now we will go to the appointments. Miss Ludwig, which two would you like to be recused on?
So Aaron Bosworth
Yes.
from the Economic Development Committee.
Mm-hmm.
The other three I can vote on if you want to separate them like that.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, we will take a motion on the floor to recommend to the town manager, Miss Erin Bosworth.
So,
May I have-
so should I leave the Zoom?
You don't have to leave.
You can stay there.
You can stay here.
I'll just go off video.
Okay. So there's a motion to recommend to the town manager, Miss Erin Bosworth. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote?
Okay. Kimberly Shaw,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The motion passes to recommend to the town manager the appointment of Miss Erin Bosworth to the Economic Development Commission. Okay, now we will take a motion to recommend to the town manager for the Economic Development Commission, Mr. Panado, Dr. DeKubelis, and Mr. Pascua. May I have a motion for those three people appointments?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll make a second.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion. Mhm.
Any discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call vote?
Okay, Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The recommendation for Mr. Panado, Dr. DeKubelis, and Mr. Pascua passes.
Uh,
Mr. Wazeker, I'll send you a complete list of these people.
Ms. Ludwig, you need to file a recusal form with the clerk on that, just to remind you.
Okay.
Okay, the next is the appointments to the Land Trust, the Coventry Land Trust. I would like to postpone this appointment, so may I have a motion to postpone to February 22nd?
I'll make a motion to postpone.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second that.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Just any particular reason, President Dixon, just so the public knows.
Yes, we are trying to make sure that all these boards and commissions have representation from as many districts as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Okay, roll call vote, please, on the postponement.
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes, the motion to postpone appointments to the Land Trust to February 22nd passes. The next is the Juvenile Hearing Board. Madam Clerk, read the resolution for Ms. Tara Fontaine, Mr. Mark Monahan, Ms. Erin Hughes, and Ms. Jamie Bernard.
Resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Coventry, Rhode Island, appointing 4 members to the Juvenile Hearing Board in accordance with Article 2, Section 5-15 of the Coventry Code of Ordinances. Section 1, that the Town Council of the Town of Coventry hereby appoints Tara Fontaine to a 3-year term of office expiring December 1st, 2023, Mark Monahan, Erin Hughes, and Jamie Bernard also to a 3-year term expiring December 1st, 2023.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion?
President Dixon, can we separate this one also?
Yes?
So I'll have to fill out that form again, Ed, for recusal on Aaron Hughes.
All right, so we will, okay, the motion will be for appointment of Tara Fontaine, Mark Monahan, and Jamie Bernard. We'll take those three as a group. So may I have a motion for those three? We're going to have to separate those. For those three first. May I have a
Make that
motion?
motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion? Roll call vote, Madam Clerk?
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
and Dick.
Yes.
I believe Jen is
Jennifer.
doing this one. She's not.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a small guest behind me. I did not hear the name that you just said.
Jennifer Ludwig.
No, I'm sorry. I heard my name. I didn't. I'm sorry. I know it's so late. I'm sorry, everyone. Who are we voting on?
For the people that you can vote on.
Okay.
Fontaine, Mr. Monahan and Ms. Bernard.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Congratulations, Ms. Fontaine, Mr. Monahan, and Ms. Bernard. Okay, we will now read the resolution to appoint Ms. Erin Hughes to the Juvenile Hearing Board. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
and Dixon.
Yes. The motion passes to appoint Ms. Erin Hughes to the Juvenile Hearing Board. Congratulations to all of you. It was a pleasure meeting everyone that we met on Saturday. And we hope to complete the appointments next meeting that we have of the town council. And we also expect many more appointments to be made following vacancies that will occur in May and June of this coming year. I think we're ready for public comment. We're opening public comment. Mr. Wazika, anyone on for public comment?
At this point, we have no hands raised. Anyone out in monitoring, watching this program, if you'd like to make a public comment, please raise your hand and I will bring you into the meeting. Public comment is now open. Public comment is going once, going twice, 3 times. No take up. We
got
got one at the last minute. Mr. Clements, when I bring you in, please state your name, spell your last name, and give your address, please. Mr. Clements?
Josh Clements, Clements, 10 Gentry Farm Drive. Kind of wore me out with all the motions there, but I appreciate taking the public comment. I just wanted to add with regards to the legislator meeting, I think it was brought up, but asking what is it that the legislators are doing to help support the town of Coventry. So if they can come with a canned presentation brief on what they're working on that will support the town versus us having to go asking them to investigate water bills and how to fund the town and how's the state going to help us, not what we can do for them, I suppose, is the general gist of my comment. Appreciate the time, appreciate the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clement. We can add that to our agenda.
Any other hands? Any other hands? Any other hands? All right, nobody else is going to get under the wire this time, ma'am.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn at 8:21 p.m.?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Jennifer Ludwig,
Yes.
Kimberly Shockley,
Yes.
Jamie LeBlanc,
Yes.
Ann Dixon.
Yes. The meeting is adjourned at 8:21. Thank you all.
You. Have a good
Thank
night.
Thank you.
Everyone, have a good evening.